thank you. That was a, let me know if it works now. Because I totally forgot to turn the microphone back on after I had it muted when I had it prompting for the first half hour of the or right before I got on the show. I had the had that going. So let me type into the chat just in case to see if it works now. Oh, thank you. That yeah, that sucked. Oh well, next time there will be the audio. Thank you for letting me know. Hope everything is going well with you today. I'm just gonna throw some color, some extra color into this creature. So, like I was trying to say before, I use a traveling watercolor case for when I actually do watercolors, which isn't very often anymore. And I just use these Van Gogh paints that I picked up somewhere along the way. It's just got a real basic set of colors. So I'm just gonna get these paints just a little bit wet. I'll bring these up into the screen so you can see roughly how much water I'm throwing in. It's not a whole lot, but I'm just going to add more color to this because this one's been hanging around for a while and just never quite looks fully finished. So I'm going to add more to it and see where it goes. So the first half hour, so what I've been doing pre-stream to try and get people to see that it's up is I have been putting up a placeholder screen and letting my stream be up for about like 10 minutes before getting started. And I always turn the volume down because as I'm getting ready, I keep the door to my office/studio open, and in there, through that sound, you'd be hearing my kids watching TV, the dog barking, all sorts of crazy stuff. So I wanted to, so I always mute it. And this is the first time that I forgot to unmute the channel. But you didn't miss out on a whole lot of me talking. I was just talking about how I've been doing the Inktober, and this is the first year that I have done it, but I'm really enjoying it because it pushes me to use a medium that I don't use very often. And I really enjoy painting and just using a brush just as a way to relax. Way back in 2004, I painted 6 comic books in watercolor that I self-published that didn't have a huge, not a lot of people bought them, so probably won't find them anywhere, but it was a lot of playing with watercolors, because 24 pages times 6. I got pretty familiar with my brushes then, but now since I've primarily been sculpting most of the time, I don't really mess around with this very often. Oh, and since you can hear now, if you want to do any song requests, you can do !, song request, space, whatever the song title is, and the band. And if YouTube has it, it should throw it into the queue. This is my first time using the Moobot's music, and I'm hoping that that is working, because I'm hearing it in my headphones, which is why I'm wearing these crazy headphones, so that it will not echo with the audio that's pulling my voice in through the microphone. And I'm just going to keep slowly building up color onto this guy, knowing that patience is key with this. You know what, since I've got ink and I haven't really done any ink on this, maybe I'll pull some of that Higgins ink and throw some into the background just as a little bit of a wash. So I'm going to dip into a little bit of wow, this is making me anxious. I'm going to see what happens when I skip that song. Okay, that was a little more black than I wanted, but that's okay. Just got some of the black ink and dipped it in some water and just moving right along. And just gonna give a little bit around the outside of this creature so that it will help set off the contrast of the light watercolor washes that are on him to help separate him from the background. Oops. So I'm gonna dip into some more ink so I can keep all this front and center. and drip it into the water bottle, and the water bottle is again looking murkier and murkier, which is pretty fun. The evil that lies inside of the water bottle. Well, skipping the song didn't really do much of anything, except make it so that there wasn't any tunage. I wonder if it gets hung up. Alright, gonna move that so that I'm not dragging ink all over that page. Little dismemberment plan again. Oops, come on. It's hard when the inkwell starts getting a little bit lower than where you're used to, and you keep going, trying not to get too much. Trying not to get too much. Letting some of that go so I don't have a bunch on the brush. And just going around the outside of this guy real quick. I gotta grab some water to pull it out. That's a little too much. So what's nice about this water versus the or this paper versus that real low-end sketchbook that I'm painting my Inktovers in is that you can actually pull stuff along this paper. It doesn't just automatically soak it up like a sponge. I'm going to come in and pull some of the ink off the inside of the top of the bottle and go back down and add a little more. It's starting to look this dark, the black on top of the yellow ochre mustardy colors, looking a little ugly, but we'll see where it goes. This paper is cut out of one of the come on, I can get it. The one of the moleskin watercolor pads. It's just one of they have watercolor ones that are whatever size this is, and I just cut it out because I thought I was done with it, but then decided to go back to it. I really like these the moleskin watercolor pads for small sketching and stuff. It's pretty fun. Plus, I usually like keeping little books of artwork together to have on my shelf so I can go back and reference for ideas for sculptures and things like that. But since I've been cutting it out of this book to sell at shows, it's been working pretty well. Yeah, they're pretty great. One of the nice things too is that, like, for this size, you can get little cheap frames if you just cut a little bit off the top and a little bit off the bottom, and you can frame them up real cheap so that you can sell them at shows a little less expensive. Like, they can be more affordable if you don't put it in a fancy frame, and when it's in a frame, it seems like people tend to gravitate towards them a little bit more than if you just have watercolors laying out on the table. I'm just going to add a little more. And kind of blend this in a little bit more. It's definitely starting to have a much different tone than it did when I started with this. It's fun to come back to it. I think I'll add some color into the axe for now. Actually, I'll just add some gray wash into the blade, and then that way, then I'll start coming back in. So this guy's a long time ago. I mean, long time ago, there was like a Dungeon or a Dragon magazine where there was a throwaway adventure, not a throwaway adventure, but like a short adventure in there where it had a group of characters where there was the Lost Afinga tribe. And somehow I ran with that and built it out even more and started working that into a lot of my early artwork. And every now and again you'll find those fingers on somebody that's worked their way back into one of my characters. I want to have a little bit of a highlight in here on that axe, and now we'll go in and start working some colors into the top of it. Let's see. Go ahead and grab some brown for some wood. I'm just going to lay a little bit down here and there, throw a little water in to pull it out a bit. Then once that dries, come back to it. Go ahead and bring some more greenish color up into the face. I keep wanting to go back to the face of this creature. But that's a very bright green. Mix it with a little bit of the blue. And then just keep on working some more color. And I want to make sure that there's still some of the paper that shows through when this is all done, so I don't overwork this painting. But it really felt like it needed some more build. But I'm totally enjoying throwing the ink washes in. Let's get a little in on the nose, maybe a little in here. Plus, since it's Inktober, might as well add some more to this, make it feel like it's a little more part of the monthly festivities. And just going to keep bringing this black in all the way through, and then come back with more watercolors once it's done, because I like how that's going. Put a little more in here. Add some details with it, just going real light with the brush, knowing that the brush has this crazy curve where it's slightly going down just a little bit. Do something, bring these teeth out even more. And I think maybe throw some color into those so they don't look so stark. But first, let's just see where this black goes. And keep working. I'm gonna work this black until it's pretty much dry on the brush, and then go from there. Keep that yellow in the eye, but don't go too heavy around it. I'm really looking forward to doing the super long sculpting session on Saturday and jumping around to a whole bunch of pieces. I think it's going to be pretty fun. Tomorrow's going to be awesome when the base forms show up in the mail. Really hope I get something strikes me for inspiration for most of them. I need to kind of think through where the creatures are going to be from that I'm sculpting, what part of Revelo that they live in, to kind of think through the textures that I want to incorporate, and the color palettes as well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull some of that in even more. Add some more contrast. Now my water bottle is definitely getting darker and darker as the painting goes on. I'm gonna pull some brown and some yellow into these top teeth, just up near the top where the lip is kind of hanging over top of it, casting a little bit of a shadow. I need to go ahead and work some color into the fingers that are hanging around his neck. I'm going to go with one of the more foresty type olive greens. Make them so they're starting to rot a bit. I'm going to do the right hand side so there's a little bit of a shadow to it, and then go from there. Let that dry, and even bring this same color up into this creature. And bring some up into the back. the neck a little bit, pull it down. And then I'll go ahead and pull some of that same color up into the eyebrow and the rest of the face, just so it doesn't feel like it's just hanging out down below. I'm going to try and work those colors all throughout to give it a more uniform feel, so it feels like it's all part of the same creature. And there's so many different techniques and ways to use watercolors. This is just how I tend to do it. A lot of people will saturate the paper with water and let the watercolors go where it wants to go. I'll do that every now and again, but usually just for like backgrounds, and then come back over top of it. I'm going to go ahead and bring some more into the cheek, a little bit thicker. You can also lay it down heavier like gouache, but some of these colors that I have are just a little too bright to do that with. And I'm gonna take a little bit of this reddish color and just do a little bit here, just so the warmth of that color will help it contrast a little bit with the darkness behind. Alright, I'm going to take this guy, and this, gosh, he's got some buck teeth. I'm going to throw down some black down on the lower part and around the outlines and see where it goes. Just gonna do quick sketchy lines for this, because it's okay for it to go in other places and see where it takes it. This doesn't have to be super rigid. And pull it around the outside. I'm going to go ahead and drag some water around here. See if I can pull some of the black that I just put in up into the background a little bit more. And let's see. The tunage has stopped. Let's see what happens now. I need to make my checklist of what I do pre-launch, because I thought I'd done that, and then forgetting to have the sound is kind of disappointing, because at least even on playback there won't be any of that audio thrown in there. Let's see, I'm going to throw that around there. I'm going to go ahead and put some detail down around here, help work the axe up a little bit. Go ahead and do this line weight here, and even down in the back here. Alright, so he's starting to come together pretty well. I need to figure out, looking at it on screen, to see the difference for where it is looking down on it from where I'm sitting. All snug up on it. Let's go ahead and put some outlines around these fingers so they can stand out even more. I'm being a little more careful now because I don't want to do anything too crazy to the fingers and have them just look really weird. So there's this string that's going through the fingers, so I want to make sure I capture that, and then capture the roughness of the flesh behind it, and then capture this string that's coming along that he's wearing as the necklace. As I might want to set that off as a different color to kind of help accentuate it a little bit. Also throw some deterioration in the fingernails, maybe throw some knucklage in there. Knucklage. Good use of real words. And just go all the way around. And get these knuckles going, and pull down just a little bit more, give those bumps that I had drawn in. One more finger. He has killed 3 creatures that he would bring into his Lost of Finga tribe. Then gotta work this up. There we go. Throw a little more black into this finger, and that finger will be pretty ready to go. And this kind of fur cowl that he has around his neck. Hey Russ, what's happening? Oh, of course they miss me. Sorry your computer went wonky. I forgot to turn the volume on for the first 30 minutes of the show. Did you have a delicious lunch? And where it's crazy because I see like the song album art show up in MooBot and then it's just quiet. I don't know if this, oh, there it went. And then it disappeared. Okay, so for the cowl on this beast that he's wearing around his neck. Colors, colors, colors. I think I might want to try, I know this is watercolor, but maybe I'll try and grab some of my acrylic and water it down a lot. Because I don't know. No, I'll keep with these colors. I need to keep with these colors. Russ, if you have any song requests, you can hit !, song request, do a space, type in the song and then the band. And if YouTube has it, it'll add it to the musical queue. Just keep in mind I can skip it if I want to. Okay, I'm going to throw in some of this darker blue. Gonna get a little bit more. I'm gonna throw this in down here for some shadows. I don't know why it's not sucking in there. Maybe it's the graphite that I put down because I did a little bit of shading way back when I first started doing this piece. Okay, just adding a little bit of shadow, and I'm gonna go ahead and do a light wash down at the bottom just to pull some of that blue up in. And I'll come back in and add another layer of color once that dries. But now I'm gonna add some color around the cowl. I don't know what color I want to do. I'll just make it some of this ochre, some of this raw umber. Umber Hulk. And just pulling some of this up. I'll bring it, try not to get any in the string of the Lost a Finger necklace, but drop it down around the finger, bring it up on this side of the hair of the cowl. And just keep bringing it down and around. You forgot the ! And the word song request. But I like the way you're thinking, Russ. That might have to be the Wednesday song of the day. So I may try and do something with one of the handles that we molded Russ on Saturday. If I can get my stuff together and really think through what sort of weapon I want to try and make with it. Since I'm going to have so much time, I think I'll have to jump around from like 5 or 6 different pieces throughout the course of the day. It's just going to be like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit everywhere. Okay, now that I got that down, I'm going to take that same color for now and put down some base in this kind of hair that's kind of this fur that's coming off the top of the axe. Maybe it should. I don't know. So Russ, can you hear the music in the background? Since this is my first time using the MooBot music channel, like I can hear it. But I'm just assuming that everybody else that's watching can hear it as well. And you know what happens when I assume? It's muted. So it looks like it's going on a lot lighter than it is. I'll pull it up and show you a little bit. Whoa! So this is kind of where I'm going with this right now. Let it color correct itself a little bit. Huh. So I'm just kind of shaking my head along. Interesting. All right. Thank you, Noti Art. And Russ? Well, I will have to explore that on a technical level when I'm not on. Huh. I guess it could just come through the through the computer. Stand by. Well, you don't have to stand by. Oh, I guess here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So how about now? Might have a weird echo, maybe not. But I guess it's weird picking it up from the sound of the monitor. So many technical things to figure out when trying to broadcast. But this is really like the second week or third week of broadcasting? Huh, okay. Well, I'll figure out, because there's got to be a better way than hearing it coming in off of my... right now it's coming in off the monitor. It's not even coming in off my laptop. Focus! So this is one of the things that's in the radio station that's on MuBot. You can choose up to 100 songs for free before you have to pay to add more songs to have a random music player. So I threw a little dismemberment plan in amongst the other music that I threw in there, and I did not get to 100 by the time I was done. I had given up because I'm terrible at browsing and do not enjoy it. Gonna add some of this darker brown in here to add a little more depth to the color. Try and get a little more texture in here as well. Make sure there's shadows hanging out down under the fingers to make the fingers feel like they're standing off of his chest a little bit more. Ha! Carrie, I just took the headphones off because the music was not playing to anybody but me. It's good times. So I need to figure out what that is. Maybe I have to add a second audio source? I don't know. And so, Russ and Carrie, you missed out on the first part of the show where I was silently doing my Inktober of the day. So here's my today's monster. Whoa. And that was just for fun. Now this guy, Carrie, you've been saying for a while that this guy needed to be finished, so here we go. We're adding more color, adding some black to him, some ink. Hopefully this is how you envisioned it. Hey, thanks Antho5. And thank you, Carrie. I hope everybody that's in the room is having a lovely Wednesday. It's nice to be halfway through the work week and taking a little break from work to make with the art is always the fun. Now if you guys want to do song requests, maybe you'll hear them. Exclamation mark song request space song title and the artist. I'm trying to see if any of this stuff works since I've never actually done any of the musical streaming before, so I'm hoping all of these commands work for everybody. If not, I gotta jump into MooBot and figure out how I am not reading the instructions correctly since I just breeze over instructions. Okay, I want to add a little bit up here, then I'm going to add some more black to this, and then start throwing some more into the background, because right now the background just kind of looks like sludge. And let's go with some of this darker blue that's in the axe down below. Let's go ahead and pull some, just pulling some up. And grab a little bit of water. Now my water is looking super murky. Hopefully it's not going to gray things up too much from doing the Inktober just a little while ago. Alright, gonna drop in a little more black. I'm gonna pull it into the hairs. I kind of see this piece coming off the top of the axe being like the hair of one of his slain enemies that he had custom thrown in, worked into the handle, because maybe he believes that gives him the strength of the fallen enemy, much like the fingers of his fallen foes that he wears proudly across his neck. Alright, and I have these pencil lines down for some texture here. I'm just gonna follow those just a little bit with the brush and try and get it fairly close. It doesn't have to be precise. Just add some more detail in here. Certain time, every now and again, some of the Dismemberment Plan songs start to make my head hurt. And that one was starting to do it, so it was time for it to go. Alright, pull in a little bit more. Oh, and then it just went quiet. So I'm going to add some of this black wash down to give even more shadow under here. That'll allow me to bring more of the blue up into it and have more layers of color and contrast. And then if anybody has recently tuned in, I'm going to have a Super Saturday stream, where an extreme stream Saturday, where I'm going to be doing sculpting a good chunk of the day from like 9 to like 12:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. Then I'm going to take a little break to hang out with one of my friends and show them some sculpting techniques, and some, not techniques, but some of the material that I use. And then from there I'll jump back on later in the afternoon, probably around 4 or so, and go for a while longer. So I'll probably get to show a lot of different sculpting techniques that I use, different textures, and get some different ideas from folks along the way. If anybody says, hey, why don't you put an ear over there or a extra horn there? Alright, I think this guy's looking pretty good. The colors are a little bit off from what you're seeing on the camera. I'm going to try and bring it up a little bit. Maybe that'll be a little truer. Oh, let me do it this way. It'll be sideways, but that's okay. And here we go again with the helicopter reverse navigation. Alright, now I'm going to start throwing in some more background so that that's a little tightened up. And actually, before I do that, I think I want to put some more details in with black along here, give him some more bumps. Maybe give him some lines up in his chin so that bring some of the teeth, make them look a little more gnarled up. There's the pencil lines that are lying underneath, but now that I've brought this black into it, it kind of loses some of the can't see it quite as well. I guess that eye needs a little too. You can't just have that white in there. The more I look at it, the more I want to add to it. around. Alright. A little more black in there. I'll just add some black wash back in the background here. See how that goes, except I need a little more. I washed away all of my black. A little too much. And I'll throw some of the dark blue in there too, so it's not just the black ink. Plus, the watercolor is so much easier to move around on the paper than the ink is. Some of that down in here. And I'm just going to keep adding a little bit more here and there to the background till I'm happy with where it is. Just enough so that this creature can stand off the page a little bit more. I don't want to add a whole lot of details to the background pieces, but I also don't want to leave the color just as flat as it currently is. It feels like it needs something more. So I noticed that, since I've only started really streaming in the past couple weeks, and I'm just pretty new to Twitch, it's been pretty awesome getting to see a couple people just become Twitch partners that have been doing it for like the past year or so. Looks like very exciting times for them. I think it's really cool that some of the ones that I've been just kind of lurking in the background and watching and seeing how things work while I've been working during the day and just having it playing in the background. It's really awesome to see how engaged they are with everybody, and they seem like they totally deserve to become Twitch partners. It's very cool for them. And I'm just going to add a little bit more in here, just to add some more depth. Little places make it seem like some of the rocks are kind of coming off a little bit in this cavern that he's in. He is lurking, waiting for you. Roll a 20, tell me, what do you see? Or what do you get? Do not fail your perception check now. Alright. A little bit more down around here. I think that is looking a lot better than where it was. I think that one's done. I'm good with that one. Let me push them up a little bit more so you can see the full piece, and then since it's only two, we'll start rocking on another watercolor piece. And this one was mostly done by the time I started this one today, so I still have quite a ways. You know, I didn't do a ton to this guy, so I'll put my name on him. Just put my last name, colon, and then go ahead and let him dry up. We'll start doodling on a new thing. Anybody have any suggestions or requests? I'm a rogue. You got 2 times perception to roll? Yes! You totally saw him sneaking up behind you. And were able to dodge his axe as he swung it at you. I'm very excited. One of my friends that I met through DragonCon and then Gen Con again just launched a Kickstarter for his Pathfinder and 5e campaign setting, Tommy Gofton, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I told my son about it, who is going to be turning 7 this November, and he loved the idea about it. He's slowly introducing him to Pathfinder. He wants so far he wants to be a video game developer, but now I'm talking to him about helping me build out the world where all my creatures live and turn that into a Pathfinder campaign setting. And he lit up last night right as I was putting him to bed when I gave him that suggestion. Draw a dragon. Any type of dragon, Wyatt. And do you hear me talking about you, kiddo? Okay, with the dragon, we'll start with an eye over here. I'm going to do a big one so that I can have it be more about the face. And I'm just going to start laying down shapes. I always tend to start with a circle with an eye, and I'm going to give him a big horn in the front, and then some big nostrils back here. This might be a little over exaggerated. It may just be the face of a dragon. You know what? That's a little too big. I'm going to turn the page and start over. Alright, with this, I'm going to start now with this kind of scaly webbing, a dark dragon. A dark, evil dragon. Alright. For this dark dragon, he's going to have 6 eyes total. Going to have a short snout just because I'm running out of paper room. Sometimes that's how the things go. And then I will throw some horns back this way and then back up. Let's see where that goes. All right. And then I'll give him some spikes on his back, and I'll have a big old spike horn on his nose, and then I'll have some more spikes going up his forehead, and we'll work those in as we start laying down some watercolor. So when I do these, when I start to sketch for watercolors, if it's just something loose and fun that I'm doing, I just start to lay down just real loose lines, knowing that things are going to change a little bit along the way, and you probably can't even see that very well. So it's pretty light. Let's bring it up a little bit. Levitate. And then drop it down. Okay. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to start to work in some of the, just start working some colors into some of the shadowy areas. I'm going to take this, this dark blue that I've got and just throw, oops, wrong blue, that's the bright blue. I'm going to take this dark blue, I think this is like an ultramarine blue, and I'm just going to take a little of that, and I'm going to start to lay it down in areas where I know there's going to be darker shadows. I'm going to lay it into the nasal cavity, and then I'm going to take some and throw it on the underside of each of the eyes. And then I'm going to go ahead and lay it down behind where I kind of see these fins going back behind the head of the dragon. I'll just brush some of that down, and then I'm going to grab some water, rinse it out good, and see what I can do to pull some of that color, slowly pulling it away from that hard line and let it fade a little bit. Do the same here. And knowing that I can keep working this and keep adding to it as I need to. Whoa, drippity drip. That's a little too much water. It's one of the best things about having an apron is to wipe your brush on it if you get too much of anything. I'm super messy when I make art, so you should see my last apron. It is just like caked on. Ooh, got some water right on that eye. Let's see what I can do to pull this down. When you drip with watercolor, sometimes you just gotta jump in and see where you can pull it in other ways. Hey Carrie, will you try and do a song request so I can see if it works? It's exclamation mark song request. You probably heard me say it. Okay, I'm gonna pull this down a little bit more to pull it all the way into the paper. And I'm gonna see if I can clean up, just take a little bit of the water, get most of it out, and just try and take away where some of that bled into where the eye's gonna be, so it's not too much going into it. Now I'm gonna take that same color and I'm gonna go underneath the mouth where the overbite's gonna be, to kind of have that come down. Now I'm going to rinse out my brush again and then start exclamation mark, song request, space, name of song, space, band name. Or you can also do exclamation mark, song request, and find the song on YouTube if you want to. But and try not to do like a full album, because that'll just throw the whole album on there. I did that at first and I was like, wow, I don't want to every time the song comes on hear 45 minutes of this band. So I'm just laying down these darker shadows to get the foundation of the form as to where I want it to be. Now come back in over here, add a little more. All right. Now, since I know where that is, I know I'm going to have some around the top. I'll do some around the top ridge. It's weird thinking through this, as usually I just start painting and see where it goes, but since I'm trying to kind of explain a little bit about what I'm doing as I stick my fist into the watercolor. Great, thank you for that. Much appreciated. Jackass. Yes, it's awesome when you get rickrolled by your wife. Thank you, Carrie. Best part, everybody that's watching is getting rickrolled. Just kind of makes you want to get up and dance. I'm going to start throwing down some other colors for where the horns are. What is happening with my computer? It sounds like my computer is ringing. Hopefully that is nothing real. The phone doesn't appear to be ringing. Alright, just gonna start pulling some of this color out. And I'm just laying some foundation colors underneath where I know the bones are gonna be. It's always Rick Astley calling. Oh well, whoever it is will wait until the stream is over at 3 o'clock. Gonna keep adding a little bit more of this color. Throw it into these little tiny horns that I have going on up here. I think I'll probably even add some black ink to this one today as well, since I like how that was working out on the other critter. But I'll save that for just a little bit later. See how far we can get with this guy before 3 o'clock rolls around. Give you up. Yep, this is totally going to be in my head the rest of the day. Thank you, Carrie. And I feel like if somebody requests a song and plays it, unless it's vulgar, like really, really bad, I probably shouldn't hit the skip button. It doesn't send a good message. And I'm gonna keep laying this color down. So I think I want this big horn that's coming up kind of off the top of the head to kind of go back and swoop down. So I'm gonna start there and try and get the shape that I want with the color. It's probably gonna have to go off the page because there just isn't enough page. Damn me and my bad composition. So, Carrie, is Wyatt still watching since I'm painting a dark dragon for him? I like taking the color and pulling it up. Like there's kind of deep grooves in the horns. It's how I tend to sculpt as well. Add some more of the color in there. Keep building it up slowly. Hopefully that'll add some extra dimension to it by doing some layering. That dry up a bit. Move on to the next piece. I hate that it's coming through my right on. Glad he's dropping in occasionally. I hate that it's playing through my monitor and not somewhere else, because the monitor is such a pile every now and again. Get possessed. I thought it was about to get possessed a second ago. Working some of those bones onto the back of it. Ooh, it looks like I ripped my hand through the snout too. Need to be more mindful of where I drag myself across this painting. So I tend to work with a very limited color palette when I paint with watercolors. Just mainly this inexpensive set that I bought a long time ago. I'm sure there's lots of different colors out there, and I tend to mix very lightly and tend to only really mix mainly when I'm actually on the paper. But I think it'll turn out okay. I'm going to come back into the upper eyes and give it a cleaner line around the top, and then go from there. Let's see. And then I think I want to start blocking in some background grays to let this stand off of it, so that we can see where the negative space is, or where the white of the paper is going to come through. And from there, start putting in other colors and start putting in some textures with taking the brush and getting some different colors and doing some like little circles around to start giving kind of a scale type effect. So I'm gonna dip the brush in the black. It had a big old drop on it, and then I'm gonna let it soak up a fair amount of water. I'm gonna come in from the corner of the paper and work my way down, see where it goes, and pull in some more water to try and bring it down to where my pencil line is for the edge of the horn. Grab a little more black and bring it up from the bottom. Dip into the water again because I want it to really soak up some water, and not so that it can be more of a wash. Anybody out there watching watch Con Man season 1? I'm very excited about the second season. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I was sad that I hadn't seen it before going to Dragon Con. It took us a while to get around to watching it. But I walked by their table a couple of times before the convention floor opened up. Got a lot on that brush that time. Let's pull it all the way across, bring some down here. I'm just gonna, basically I just want to go along the outside of this dragon so that I can know where my space is. I don't really want to give it a thick outline yet, but just enough to show me where I do and don't want other colors to go. And gonna keep pulling it up and try and keep working the ink while it's still a little bit wet. So every now and again it'll just get too dry and not want to move anywhere. It's a big difference between the Higgins ink and actually using watercolors. Sometimes it just doesn't want to go. And alright, almost got all the black around the background that I want to put in. Oh, water. Saturate that thing. Gonna bring it in across the top a little bit. And alright, we are almost there with this, and then I'm gonna hold off on doing any black on the back here because I'm not sure exactly if I might bring another horn in down on the back or if what else I might throw in there. So now that I know how that is, I think I want to go ahead and start doing some outlining here. Hopefully the black is dry enough around here that it's not going to just start bleeding. I like getting comfortable with a specific brush and trying to do the entire piece with that one brush. Just because if I don't, my brain will start to go on autopilot, and if I start switching brushes, I will forget which brush I'm using and then start to bear down, and it'll be a brush that's too big or a brush that's too small, and it won't get the line, weight, or texture or whatever it is that I'm going for the way I like it. So I like keeping things simple for my brain. But I really like using brushes when doing ink work over pens and things like that, even though it might not be as clean and as nice. I just like the textural difference. I like how I hold a brush better than I like how I hold a pen. I like how the line weight variation, and how some things, even though they're super controlled, can be a little unpredictable. I'm just going to keep doing some black work on here so that I can see where it's going to go. It's one of when you do really light sketches to get the idea of the shapes and forms in, you never know exactly where the creature is going to go or what it's going to turn into or how it'll look at the end. They are some of the funner of these sketches. Anybody else in here doing any Inktober stuff? You'll find these lines that I take up around the lip in a lot of my drawings and a lot of my sculptures. It's just one of those textures that I tend to add into a lot of them. Thought I heard a cat trying to get in. Beetlejuice, right before I started streaming, decided that he wanted to get out of the room. I thought Zelda was in here, but she is nowhere to be seen. And of course I had to kick Frisbee out right before we started because all of a sudden she started barking at all the cats. And that was not cool. Would have echoed and pierced everyone's ears. Everyone would have had to make a saving throw. And very few can survive the shrill bark of Frisbee. And I'm gonna have to do some testing with the audio sometime between now and Saturday to figure out what it is about the music and the headphones and where the audio is coming from. If anybody's on here and knows anything about MooBot and the auto and the music player and has any suggestions for using it with OBS, let me know, because didn't work as well as I thought it was going to today. I'm just going to keep outlining this guy for now, and then I'm going to come back in and start putting down some other colors once I get these horns down, or maybe I'll get the kind of fin things that I'm thinking that this dragon has. And then every now and again I think I'm going to do one thing and then I see something and it makes me want to bring some other lines in. Go along a little bit along the color that I already laid down, and a little extra as well. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and pull these fins up. I think I might drag those down. Just using the weight of the brush and really pulling it down to give it a really dark outline. Helps give it that, will help separate it from the back part of its body, from the neck of the beast. Plus that's going to make me, if I put some extra little spikes coming off of it, it's going to make me have to thicken those outlines up as well so it all kind of gels together. Which I think I'm going to do. Just little teeny tiny spikes. Itty bitty spikes. And once I throw some color in, I think that'll start to come together okay. Alright. There we go, got those in. I'll put some color into that in a minute. I didn't like what I just did there, but that is an ink, so that is not coming out. So no matter how much water I put down there, that thing is not going to come out, so I need to just go in and grab some watercolor, and let's see. Oh, I'm going to put some black on these little horns on the back. Alright, that's good for now. Now let's start throwing in some other color into the dragon. I'm going to keep going with this dark ultramarine blue color. Add more to it. And then just pull this color through. And I'm going to want to make sure I leave lots of white, or not lots, but some white on the paper so that I have that to show through for some highlights, but also I'm going to pull a lot of this dark blue color in because it's going to bleed in and fade just a little bit, and then we'll come back in with more of it and really get in there with some texture and try and get some scale-like texture going on in here so it doesn't just look like a dragon made of like just watered down fur. I want to imagine that there's bones inside here and pull the color down to blend it in accordingly. Even when I accidentally reach up here and get some of that brown color in here. Okay. And gonna keep pulling this down. So I'm going where I think a line of the bone's gonna be. Throw some dark blue there. Gonna do it on the other side and pull it down to where it would be down underneath, and then use the water to just kind of pull it and blend it down. And pull it and blend it up here. Alright. That's starting to get that deeper, richer shape. I think I'll go ahead and put some more dark in underneath the fins in the back to help add even more separation here. and up here as well. And then just pull it back. Yeah, I should not whistle, I should not sing. I have no musicality except in the dance. These watercolors are just relaxing sketch time for me. They're not really for anything in particular. If any of them end up looking decent enough, I'll take them to art shows, like art festivals or conventions, and have them at my table. Some of the ones that are a little more specific, like, yeah, that's a beholder, then people tend to gravitate towards those. Otherwise, they will just stay in my sketchbook. If I'm not super happy with it by the end of the painting session. But if I think somebody else might like it, I'll take it with me and throw it in a frame and see if it can live in somebody else's home. The next show that I'm going to be in officially is on December 3rd, and that is a small show at the Red Brick Brewery in Atlanta that Chris Hamer is putting together. He's been doing these pop-up little art things at the brewery, and invited me to be in one. I was originally going to be in the August one, but then I realized it was the same weekend as Gen Con, and I couldn't do that. So then this was the next one that I could do. And then I just applied for the Indie Craft Experience show that is going to be in Chattanooga on December 10th, but I won't know about that until October 24th, I believe. So I'm just playing with this brush because this brush has some weird bristles at the end that kind of curve out, and I'm just kind of going back and dancing with it and kind of giving it a scale-like texture. So we'll see how this goes and see if it turns out the way it is so far. And I just have to kind of go light and go over and back and forth. It's almost like I'm just doing some weird gibberish. I can even start to bring it up into these here, even though it'll fade and blend in, but that'll help kind of add that flavor of the scaly texture. Oop, almost dipped it in that ink. Yikes. I don't want to bring it up too close to the eyes yet because I have a feeling I'm going to do more around there. But this will give some good shapes up in here. Okay. I'm gonna bring some more darkness down under the mouth. Let those scales set up for a minute. I'll bring some other textures up under the jaw. I really haven't listened to the Beastie Boys in a long time. It's really about time for me to rinse out my water, but with only 20 minutes left, I'm just going to keep it going. But normally I wouldn't let my water get this evil looking. I mean, that's pure evil what's in there. Okay. Any suggestions for eye colors before I start laying down some eyes? I'm gonna, while the chat catches up with me putting in a request for eye color, I'm gonna throw some color in up at the top of the head. And I'm gonna keep pull some of this color in. One of the things with doing this during my workday. Every now and again my phone starts blowing up, so I'm going to have a busy afternoon once I'm done with the painting. Okay, let's bring some more of this up into the eyes, up above the eyes. So nobody with eye color, it will be up to me. Alright, so it is. Do that in just a minute. Add a little of this in here. Alright. Evil, in league with the devil, this guy will have red eyes. All three of them. But I think it will be red around the outside and come into a black pupil. And I'll be able to throw black over top of it once it's all dry. All right. So again, after this stream, the next stream will be Saturday, which I'm looking forward to quite a bit. I'm going to keep sculpting on this guy that I started on, which is a weird, going to be a strange like Cyclops type frog with all sorts of horns and weirdness. And then I'm also going to hopefully finish up this other sculpture that I started, which is a giant mammal-like creature, and then start on some new sculptures as well. So really my goal right now is to keep building out the creatures that are in my fantasy world where all my monsters live, called Revelo. And in April I'm going to be doing the Spectrum Fantasy Art Live in Kansas City, and I've never done that. And one of the things I want to do is I want to bring all new pieces, primarily, especially the larger ones. And I want like one part of I want to kind of give people a guided tour through the different areas of my world, whether it's through the Valley of Despair, or through the Waiju Desert, or through the icy mountain ridge on the eastern part of the continent, so that they can kind of see all a wide variety of creatures, textures, colors, and see who all inhabits the world that I'm slowly building out. So there's going to be a lot of chance for people to weigh in and give ideas as to what they think should be in the world and things that they'd like to see, because there's a lot of different inhabitants. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. I want to go ahead and put a wash in here to see what this looks like once it's not just black back here. Alright, once it's not just white back here. Alright. That gives me a better idea. Get that brush rinsed off. Let's add some more textures in here. I'm gonna keep building up this dark blue some more. And now I'm gonna, you know what, I'm gonna throw some more color in here. I'm gonna throw some of the brown underneath the overbite to help add some richness to the shadow. And then once that dries, we'll probably add some more of the blue on top of it, just to keep layering that, building it up. And I'll go ahead and pull some of that color into the cowls. Is that the right word for that? In stereo. That'll help give that a little more depth there. Bring some up into the nose. the nostril. Bring it up into around here. Give it some extra lines. Let's pull some of that out with some water. And a little more up in here. Once that red dries up, I'm gonna go ahead and put some black in for the eyes so it doesn't just look like big pink orbs. Ooh. All right, it's starting to come together a little bit. And let's see, those feel pretty dry. Let's wring out my brush as much as possible. Dip in for some black. Try and get this as clean as possible. And then once this is in, once it's dry, I will go ahead and go back in with some more of the red and do some more details around. And then come back around the eye sockets and add more texture and detail in there. I like adding 6 eyes to things a lot. Just tends to weird people out. So and something about it makes me think no matter where I go, they're always watching. It's kind of like when I worked at 7-Eleven for many years in high school and in college, and I would hide in the cooler where the drink racks were. The drinks were on an angle, so when somebody was in the cooler, people could, when they looked in, they didn't actually see them because the product was going like that. But I could get at an angle and watch people, mainly for shoplifting. I wasn't just some weirdo back there watching folks. But when there was somebody that I knew was a regular shoplifter, I would go back there so that I could catch them in the act and run out. It's a different time then. And you could lock the front door of the 7-Eleven and stop somebody from stealing, and nothing would really happen. Nothing would happen to you for doing that. Okay, I'm gonna keep adding some scale texture in here. I'm adding more lines and stuff around the eyes. We'll go back in. Well, I'll go back in and add some more stuff to the eyes as the day goes, as this dries up, so that they have a little more dimension to them. Right now, they feel a little flat. It does sound like I was a weirdo, doesn't it? Well, that was a long time ago. I was probably weirder back then. And I like the idea of these scales, but I think I'm going to want to come back over these with some more color, because right now, as it's all starting to get on there, it's now that I'm seeing it all over the place, it's starting to look kind of flat. So I'm going to bring some down here, but then probably stop it like around where the bottom jaw hinges in. Bring a few back into here. Then slowly drag some across the bottom of the mouth line, but I think that'll just fade up into the top. That'll be that. So this has been a thoroughly enjoyable break in my normal Wednesday. I'm glad Wyatt recommended painting a dragon. Maybe I'll have to do more Wednesday watercolors, taking requests for suggestions on what to paint. guess it'll depend on if I get any of my sculptures finished and ready to paint before the next Wednesday. Gosh, it would be cool to have that big beastie ready to go, because he's going to take a number of painting sessions. Put a few more around the eyes here. And bring in some lines from the top. Okay. Gonna bring some of this into the eyes, especially when it's kind of thinned out a little bit and running out of color. It'll be easy to blend in and not look too stark and harsh. And I'm gonna have to fill in the holes of the eyes a little bit. Let me rinse that out. I think I need to figure out the warmth of the lighting a little bit in here during the day, because these day shoots are definitely a little bit warmer in color, so you don't see as much of the contrast. Gentle, 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 gentle. You can see where my brush is starting to split apart, so I have to be a little more careful when going in. So let me pull this up just so you can see it a little bit in more detail, and hopefully the the colors come together a lot more when I bring it up. So let me pull it there. So that's where I currently am. Got a ways to go yet for it to be complete, but it's definitely coming along pretty well so far. Any questions about how I'm doing this, or what I'm doing, or why I'm doing it? Because I've got about 10 minutes left, and oftentimes with the delay on the chat, sometimes I won't see stuff until it's too late. Oh, it's too late. I'm gonna bring some lines in here. I'm gonna have to add some color in on the bone up there. And just bringing some of these lines down to make it look a little bit older and kind of broken around the around these fins, or these the cowl. And go ahead and bring up some of that color up in the up into the horns here. Yeah, why Russ, are you still hanging out on here? Excuse me, guys, for just a second while I see. Let me just let him know. All right, let Russ know. Russ is my business partner, so I was letting him know that I've got 8 more minutes here before I jump back into the workity work. What was the no for? No questions? No. Or just straight up no? Gotta get some more saturated red and bring some of that back into the eye. Oh, gotcha. Now who's the weirdo? I'm gonna add a little more black to this. I'm gonna bring some in here. This brush is starting to get a real funny curve to it. to be doing this with the dark blue, the ultramarine, so I'm not going to a place where I can't come back from. That black, just once it's in, it's done. And I'm gonna keep adding, I'll add a little more dark blue under here. Ha! Right on. No, no worries. I'm just I am going for just till 3, then I'll be done. But this one's getting pretty close. I think you know, for a quick little watercolor study, watercolor sketch, this is usually about as detailed as I take them. A few more little lines and doodles here and there. Yeah, I don't know why, like, I don't know if I stopped getting commercials when I watch Twitch, because I've got my Prime membership, and since Amazon just recently announced the Amazon Twitch Prime connection when they had TwitchCon, if that's why I've stopped having to watch commercials, but it's pretty awesome not seeing those commercials. Let's go ahead and add some of these bonus textural lines. And let's add a little bit, whoops, let's water that blue color down, but add a little bit to the shadow here of this horn. And then, yeah, it's almost there. A little bit more on the eyes, just a little bit. Kind of want to put some white in there, but I don't have any. I have some acrylic. I'll grab some acrylic white real quick. Pardon me as I reach. Skeleton bone, no, I want some pure, nope, that is incorrect. Where are you, white? Let's do, I guess splintered bone is going to have to be it. Do a little bit of this white, just to do a little dab on the eyeballs, make them stand off a little bit more. All right, I think that might add a little something to it. A little bit of gleam, in those eyes, a little glint. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Here, let me bring it up so you can see it in its full color, the better color. Okay. Yeah, so this right there, what you're seeing now, is definitely more accurate in color than what it's been like while it's been stretched away. So that's, I think that's it. I think I'm gonna stop there with it. I'm gonna put my name on it. And I guess put today's date. Is today this 12th again? Yep, 10/12. Rinse out my brush. Yeah, look, seeing how it just drops down and it gets there's the color. That's the, oh, and then it's gone. I wonder what that is with the color settings where it drops out. Huh. Oh, so there's that. This is good. I'm glad Wyatt likes it. So I did this today during this 2-hour jam. I did this. I finished painting this piece. Which, oh, let me drop it down. Finish painting that guy. And then I also did my Inktober sketch for the day with this weird kind of clay monster, clay golem type critter. Now, Saturday, for my next sculpting session, that'll be starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, going till 12:30, and then picking back up probably around 4. I will be continuing to sculpt on this strange cyclops frog-like creature. that I have just started on to just play with. Let me grab this other sculpture from behind me. I'll also be continuing on this beastie, which is a mammal-like creature that lives in my fantasy world of Revelo, where all of my critters hang out. I'll be continuing on the sculpture on him. He's got to finish out his hands and his feet and his legs and his snout, and then he will be ready to be painted. And then I'm also going to keep sculpting and start on a bunch of new pieces as well. So if you have time to tune into me sometime on Saturday, I would love to have more people in the room chatting, asking questions about how I make with the sculpting. For everybody that's tuned in today, thank you very much for joining me on my quest. Any last questions or comments before I sign out and get back to work for the day? If you do, post them, and for some reason I do not see them before I sign out, I will see the chat room once I shut down the stream. So thanks everybody for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. I hope the rest of your day is filled with success and riches, and you roll 20s all the rest of the day. All right, goodbye.